So we were expecting High Seas reveals and the official announcement at Pro Tour London, but earlier this week, some leaks begins. And then just mere hours ago, the full drop, spoilers, sell sheets, gold packs, and even an armory deck. Oh right, and Necromancer. So stand fast, mateys, because today is everything High Seas.
A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando.
Hey there, my Flesh and Blood friends. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Flesh and Blood Friday. Actually, happy High Seas Friday. Let's be honest. It's been a whole week of High Seas. We got the leaky leaks earlier on, but then yeah, it's just a few hours ago when I'm shooting this. We got the actual official announcement that we probably would have gotten concurrent with Pro Tour London. We actually got that dropped on us New Zealand time, March 31st. So that's what we're going to be doing today. There is a ton to talk about. Now, I get to toot my own horn for a second. I had been debating doing a cast today on the other stuff, and I hadn't done it yet. So I guess hooray for me for dragging my feet, and we get to go through it all. Now, there's a bunch of stuff. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff. So here's the plan of attack. And what I will commit to, I'll go do timestamps so you can go to the various things. Because what I want to do, like I said, the plan of attack, we're going to go through the actual announcement first, dissect that, including like the sell sheets and stuff like that. Then we'll go through the spoilers. Now, yes, they're going to be intertwined, and the chances of me not straying during discussion are very small. But this is a really exciting one because, we've got the new symbol and we don't know what the mechanics are, but I'm pretty sure we can figure out within relative accuracy what it is. So like I said, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to start with the announcement. So the trailer is, it's really cool. They do a great job with their trailers and stuff these days. So let's go into the key dates. Card previews May 15th. Now, we already knew what the release date and stuff. Well, did we? I think we did. Well, yeah, we had to because we knew what the world premiere date was. So we did. You could back that all out, right? I do expect the pre-releases to be, that's their thing, right? They're coming. They'll be the next weekend. But do remember we're doing a different pre-release thing this time around, but that's its own thing. So we open up with the Necromancer and Watery Grave. So here we are. And like I said, they're going to be intertwined. Because in order to talk about this, we have to go Gravy Bones, the shipwrecked looter. So for an instant, and what I'm going to, for the purpose of this, be calling exhaust, because I don't want to say tap, hashtag don't sue me, right? But some sort of use mechanic. You can tap, exhaust, flip, whatever the kids want to call it, use, exhaust, whatever. And destroy a gold you control, draw a card, then discard a card. And if blue's been put into your graveyard this turn, you may play cards with Watery Grave from your graveyard, right? So obviously, those certain cards have been going crazy. Now, I'm not going to go through, there's other cards, I'm not going to go through those. So we've got Gravy Bones. We have full steam ahead with Puffin Hightail, the Mechanologist airship captain, it looks to be. And she has action for exhaust. Destroy a gold you control and create a golden cog. The second time you crank each turn, draw a card. So these heroes seem to be going through their decks pretty quickly. Oh no. Sorry about that. And then Go Fish. When I first read this, I thought it was Marilyn, but Marlin makes so much more sense. Marlin Treasure Hunter, by the way, this is Sam Yang. Huge fan. I've also seen the young art at this point. I'll throw it up. The young art, really good. Love Sam. Got to meet him in New Zealand. Well, he signed a 5 for me, I guess, in LA, but got to meet him in New Zealand and talk for a bit. Good dude. I really enjoy his art. So this is your ranger for an exhaust. Destroy a gold. Create a goldfin harpoon in your hand. Go again. Whenever you draw a card during your action phase, you can put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. So it's like a when you draw reload. Kind of cool. It's not really a reload. So, all right, now this next part is very interesting. So we saw in one of the reveals that there was a treasure pack, and I assumed that this was 2 days ago and it was real. I assumed that was like the pre-release pack, and instead of being in cellophane, they were putting it in something nice, but it's not. So these things show in a booster display. So when you crack one, you get the Goldie Gold pack. In every display, right? So every box, right? So there'll be 4 per case. So what's interesting about this All right, sorry about that. I had to actually go over to the product page to find what I was looking at. I know you got to hop, skip, and jump all around, but that's okay. So in the treasure pack themselves, these nice gold little thingies that, again, 1 per booster display, 4 per case. So there's 90 cards in this set. So interesting. I wonder if they're alt. I assume it's kind of like gem pack-esque, right? Where there's like alts and not like completely unique cards, I think. I don't know, we'll find out. 3 cards per pack, a gold slot, a map slot. That sounds kind of like the art cards where you like, put them together to make a thing. It's kind of cool. Then your treasure slot. So this is very interesting. So includes 43 lost treasure token inserts in addition to the 90 card set, appearing roughly 1 out of every 1,000. Treasure pack. 17 of the lost treasures inserts are unique. Only 1 of each exists in the treasure packs. So the treasure packs, 1 in 1,000. Okay, so that's 1 in 250 cases. Okay, so if I'm reading this right, so includes 43 lost treasure inserts in addition to the 90 card set, appearing 1 out of 1,000, 17 of which are unique. Okay, 17 of which are unique. Fair enough. Okay. 43. So does each one of them appears at 1 out of 1,000? Or do they appear 1 out of 1,000 for the 43? I don't know. Either way, very interesting. And there's some argument there that based on how to read that you could actually calculate what the print run is, right? Of roughly, what was my math? If it's 17, you could calculate it roughly 17,000. That doesn't seem high enough. It's got to be way higher. Yeah, so it's got to be. All right. Either way, let's go back over. All right, so from here, it's basically just describing the events and then the stuff that you get from going to them, and then it kind of goes through the product configs until you get down to this little gem right here. Now, this has its own product page, but yes, it's the Gravy Bones Armory deck, which has some pretty neat things to it. So let's go over to that product page. Looks cool, okay? Sure, this will be very, very, very popular, but what is very interesting about this one is that you see this little symbol right here, which is the C to B. It's designed such that you can actually take, it has specific, like it basically has a list, or the cards might even, I think it says somewhere that the cards are actually marked to where you can go take them out to make a Blitz deck out of it. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome, right? We'd always, for a long time, we've talked about, this little symbol being, CC or whatever on the Armory deck. And like, well, maybe it'd be LL or whatever. This makes sense. One would question why they wouldn't always do that going forward. I don't know. We'll see. It is probably unique to this because this is like your intro to Necromancer, right? You have to think. But so let's think about this all together, right? So if we go look at High Seas, there's the treasure pack configuration down there, right? But so it's a 264 card set with potentially another 90, but probably those 90s are like non-functional cards. And then you have Gravy Bones here, who, obviously it'll get spoiled closer to time, but like, will it be a traditional armory where it also has like 5 or 6 different unique cards? So you need to pick that up too. I don't know. So it's 264 is not as high as we've seen in the past in terms of numbers, but it could creep on you depending on how things go here, right? And the thing is, because the gold pack is considered, like, because you're guaranteed a distribution of the gold pack, right, in each booster display, it wouldn't be precedent breaking if there were unique cards in that. They've done it before, but kind of at the promo level, like Enigma. She was the gold pack before. So anyway, this is very interesting. But what I want to do now, we'll go away from this and let's go ahead and actually move into the spoilers. So this was what we saw earlier this week, right? It's the fan of all 3 heroes, but screw that. We already know what the heroes were. So let's start first with Puffin. So again, I already gave you my theory on what the little, we'll call it it's kind of looks like a yin yang a little bit, but I believe if you blow it up, right, I'll do that. It looks to me like a circle that you turn. What's interesting about the concept of, tapping, exhausting, using, or whatever term we will use. What's interesting about that is there's no, to date, there's no like upkeep phase or no untap phase or whatever equivalent in this game. So are there cards that unready? Because, you know, I mean, I know we're skipping ahead here, but there's a lot of stuff here that like refers to like do this to an ally or whatever. So like in this case, if I use this on Puffin, do I rotate her and show that she's used, right? And then there's no like, again, ready phase. So like, would she stay that way until some game effect, which allows her to do so, right? Now, one theory I did hear out there, and I even thought about myself was, oh, maybe it's flip, right? Because remember, face down cards, you're not supposed to interact. Well, I guess that's really on the banish zone, but you know, there's a whole thing with like cards being face down and then being blank, but then like they would be blank, so then they wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think you're flipping it down. I think you're like turning it or exhausting it. Maybe you're turning it upside down, whatever. Like upside down, like this, not like flipping it. So lots of places. Let me know what you're thinking. That seems to be a very reasonable theory out of this, is that you're somehow marking it as exhausted or used, right? Now let's move into Marilyn. So looking at Marilyn here again, we already read her out early enough. I do have to give a shout out to Riddler. He was the only one who I saw, at least, that was calling out those like earlier Harpoon spoils that do now seem like they looked pretty like not real, like what, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. It was the only one that I saw talking about it, and they look like they're probably legit leaks at this point. Obviously, it's not the golden one. We've seen the golden Harpoon. But yeah, that's very interesting. So the golden harpoon, if we go over to that, is an arrow. It's a 2 arrow, and it's the gold fin harpoon. It actually has pitch value, which is interesting, right? So it's yellow, but it can't be pitched. Interesting, right? And when I said it has pitch value, it still has a pitch value. It just can't be. So that's wonky, right? But I mean, it says on the card, rules. And if it'd be put into a graveyard instead of removed from a game, fair enough. It's not similar to like ephemeral, right? Isn't that right? Yeah. Anyway, so it's a 2. So if we look at that, of course, with Marilyn, then that's not too bad, assuming, of course, that you can like reliably generate gold, which, I mean, let's be honest, we're going to be doing that. So that actually puts into context some interesting things, right, coming out of, right, the great book burning of November 2024, was it? And where they took out cash in. I mean, they were clearly in development of the set at that point, at least in the early stages. So they were like, well, we can't do that, which is interesting. So Gravy Bones, we already read him out as well. Just want to remind you, again, we are specifically looking at creating this. I think it's, I don't think it's like a resource you're creating. I think you're exhausting them. So I think that's what it's showing, is that you're effectively using this card so that you could, right? I mean, because it's not a once per turn instant. So if you could do it and then ready him and then, right. So that's where I'm going. So we then saw out of the Battle Hardened, again, this is all in the, world premiere weekend, but the Battle Hardened has this 3-card promo pack, which is Board the Ship, Paddle Faster, and Hoist them up. So Paddle Faster, again, really nice extended art here. It's Pirate Necromancer. When this attacks, you can exhaust. And again, my term, you can exhaust an ally you control, and if you do, this gets go again. One would assume that an exhausted ally can't do other things, right? And actually, we do know from looking at the allies what they do. So that's cool. So it's a 4 box 3. Seems decent. And if you exhaust an ally, it gets goes. Hoist them up. When this defends, so this is a block, when this defends, you can exhaust an ally. If you do, it gets +1, so it could potentially be a 0 for 5, but then you would be spending your ally, which in theory, then you wouldn't be able to attack with. Okay, it is not out of the realm to think that they could insert like an untap phase, unexhaust phase, whatever, when you draw, right? Could be. So Board the Ship. So it's a 2/6. When this attacks, you can exhaust an ally, and if you do, it gets overpower. Popper, works for me. Right, then we saw this, which is the world premiere event package. So if you're flying over there, you get this nice playmat, and then you get the Marvel promo, which is the landmark, okay? And then you also get the treasure pack. Like I said, when I first saw this, I assumed that the treasure pack was just like the cellophane pre-release pack, but it is not. You'll probably get that as well, okay? So Treasure Island. The first time a hero is attacked each turn, put a gold counter on it. Whenever you or an ally you control deals damage to an opposing hero,
You remove that many gold counters from this, then create gold tokens equal to the number of counters removed this way. So, okay, fair enough. And then this is a macro, right? Meaning that it will start in play, right? In the limited event, a limited format only, excuse me. So that's kind of cool that it's a Marvel. I mean, again, you probably don't use it any other time, right? But it's cool. It's cool. It's a collector's piece, right? And then they'll get that. So that's cool. Okay. So we then saw the Fabled event package for this, which obviously has the gold in it, as well as 3 cards that were really too small to see. You could kind of zoom in, and that's how we're like, oh man, Mech's going to be in it. And then we saw the heroes, and it's like, Mech's definitely going to be in it. But we now have those up as well. So this is Big Game Trophy Shot. So this is Pirate Ranger. It's a yellow for 2. So you're seeing a lot of yellows, right? So it looks like, well, we're seeing a lot of yellows in the set. Most of the allies that we'll see are yellows. But yet Gravy Bones is looking for blues, which is interesting. Well, he needs a blue, but then he has, yeah, anyway, you get it. So Big Game Trophy Shot. Your next arrow attack has +4, but that's a 2. If it has Harpoon in its name, it gets, when it hits a hero, create a gold token, and then you draw and discard, go again. So there does certainly seem to be a cycling mechanic of sorts, not just for Gravy Bones, for maybe potentially everybody. Then we have Chart the High Seas. Look at the top 2 of your deck. You can pitch a blue from among them and put the rest in your graveyard, and then create a gold token for each yellow card put into your graveyard this way. So there's actually a lot going on here, right? So you want to have a blue so that you can pitch it, and then, well, I guess you could just have 2 yellows there. But so you're looking at like a non-red set, yellow blues. Interesting. So is this the first like multi? You know, most like historically we've had, I mean, that's not true for Rosetta, right? But we've had red sets, we've had yellow sets, and we've had blue sets, right? Like the blue set, obviously, Mistveil. And this is like, is it a blue-yellow set? It's kind of interesting. But it would make, you know, if there's allies and stuff, it kind of makes sense. You'd need more resources, maybe more control and stuff like that. So, hey, then we go into Golden Skywarden. So this is a big, beefy pirate mech action for 4. But Galvanize when it defends, you can do. But if you do, it gets +1, right? That's normal Galvanize. But it has a special thing of if a golden cog's destroyed this way, create a gold token and then do it again. That's pretty neat. So a 4 for 7, But on the defense, and you get to do things, assuming you get the cog tokens out, that's pretty neat. Then Sky Scammer, once per turn instant, and this is the exhaust a cog you control. This gets +1 or go again. It's a 0/4, but no boost. Interesting. Compass of Sunken Death. So this is, now we're into the pirate cards, or sorry, the all the pirate cards, Necromancer cards, the Compass of Sunken Depth. So this is an offhand, don't know the weapon yet. So exhaust to look at the top card of your deck, and the first card with Watery Grave you play from your graveyard each turn gets go again. So he's definitely like, probably got a sword and a compass. Maybe a spyglass and a compass? Probably not. This one's opting, so like what would the spyglass do, right? But again, you're exhausting this to do it. So there's got to be, because otherwise it would just say once per turn action, right? There's got to be ways to unexhaust things, right? Assuming, of course, that this is exhaust. I'm like pretty sure it is, but there's got to be ways to unexhaust things, and they're just giving us the left hook, not showing us quite yet. All right, so here we go. Into the allies, the first of the 2 that we've seen. So this is Chum, our friendly first mate. He does not look super friendly. This is a 4-drop. Action, exhaust, attack. And again, it makes so much sense, like exhaust to attack. Okay. Or instant, do it, and then discard a card with Watery Grave. Until the end of turn, opponents must choose this as the target of attacks. If well, also first mate takes bullets for you. It's pretty cool. Then he himself has Watery Grave. Attacks for 4 with 6. That's a beefy bodyguard. Like he throws out a pirate veteran bodyguard. That was one of my first good Magic cards back in the day, alongside my Royal Assassin that I should not have sold. But so we move on, and now we have Rigor Mortis. Oh, so witty. He's a topsman. So you see here again. So he's 1 to drop, but he's 6 for 1. It's like old Vincerikai or whatever it is, right? But for 1 and exhaust attack. I mean,
seems to me like makes sense. But no go again or anything like that. So 6 for 1. They can drop him for him. Yeah, it's pretty good. That seems pretty good, actually, right? And drop him at the end, and then you can swing. Seems pretty good. All right, now we get into the golden cog. So as this enters the arena, or this enters the arena with a steam counter, it's got crank. You get it. You know how it is. Now, this only comes in with one steam counter, so you crank it so it blows up, right? So you're very much depending upon, the effect from her of getting this out, of Puffin, right? Assuming Puffin's not the parrot here. Which has a mechanical wing, by the way, which is freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. But no, so this is going to be a pretty, I mean, you're going to be bouncing these all over the place, right? And we saw with the galvanize, you want to have them out, you can consume them. The golden cog is just one of her things. Goldfin harpoon we talked about, but the king shark harpoon. So you can tell in this set, like, all the arrows are going to have harpoon in them. Probably 1 or 2 of them are going to be good with Azalea. Probably a couple more with Riptide. But I have to say, go fish. Come on now. Go fish. Whatever. It's a 2/6, blocks 3. When this hits a hero, they choose and reveal a card from their hand. If it's an attack action, they discard it, and you create a gold token. If you've activated a cannon, that's awesome, right? If you've activated a cannon this turn, instead look at their hand, and you choose the card. I get to build, so the ranger gets to build cannons and shoot cannons. That's pretty awesome. Right. So we also have this interesting thing going on, right, where we've got like the Sky Ranger, or sorry, the Sky Pirate, Sky Captain. Let's go with Sky Captain. I'm going to go with that. Sky Captain, normal like pirate, and then under the depths, Gravy Jones, Gravy Davy. Interesting. The gold, I like it. So that's the full gambit. Now, what I want to do for the rest of this, let's just chit chat what's going on here. So those are all of the cards. It's a full rundown of the cards. And we've looked at the set and all that as much as we know it. Obviously we don't know obviously what the little symbol is, but like it looks so much, come on, right? We're pretty sure what this is, but so I want to talk Puffin here. This is, I know a lot of my player, obviously the most excitement around Necromancer, which is why we're saving him for last, okay? But Puffin's very interesting here, right? Because cranking twice, not super easy, right? And or it means you leave yourself totally exposed, assuming that it's coming from hand, right? So under the assumption that you have to, you're going to have to make a gold to make the golden cog, right? Hopefully, I'm sure there's other ways to make the golden cogs as well, right? You probably have some equipment or something, whatever, right? But it seems like a, maybe best case every other turn type of thing, right? Because you're going to have to do it, and then when it comes in, crank, and then have something else to crank. It's not to say like you have to draw a card, right? But assuming that assuming you're playing a card from hand, cranking it, and golden cogging, and then backfilling the card you played to try and have a real turn, like that seems to track, right? So let me know what you think there. But I don't think she's like, I don't think she's going to be as aggro as what we've seen with boost. It's not that she can't play boost cards, to be fair. Not what I'm saying at all, but the cards we've seen don't have boost. And realistically, from kind of take a step aside or maybe skip ahead, what's interesting about this set is like Mechanologist traditionally has been kind of hard. To be fair, we've only had the one set, I guess. So, the 2 sets, but they were all in one set together. So I was really referring to like Arcane, right? So fair enough there. Also to that point, it is interesting that we have a talented Mechanologist here, because there had been a lot of speculation in the past that like Mechanologist wasn't actually like a class as much as it was kind of, we know that mech is a class, like it's been called a class, but right, but like there was all of this thing that like it was kind of like this special carved out thing. So anyway, that's interesting. I find that interesting, but looking at this in like, these are very distinct classes in draft. And most of the time when we've had like a 3-class draft set, you have like the overlap cards to kind of round it out. But I suppose you have a whole, to be fair, you have the pirate, so you can just have a whole pirate talent, 50, 60 pirate talent cards to kind of round it out, instead of like, and that way they don't have to worry as much about like generic pool, kind of muffing everything else up. So that seems to make sense. Now, Marlin here, this one's really cool. I mean, to be clear, all of them are really cool. But this one's really interesting to me, especially when I know that I can fire cannons. I don't know what that means yet. Do I have to load a harpoon in the cannon? Because that doesn't seem like a cannon to me. But you never know. So whenever you draw a card during your action phase, you can reload. And again, so it's a very similar theme of like, do the exhaust, pop a gold. How many of these heavy hitter cards are actually, there's a couple of the heavy hitter cards that like you can play from Arsenal, and if on hit, go again, stuff like that. If played from Arsenal, go again, on hit, great gold. I imagine those are coming out again. I mean, and then like the wager cards, I guess the only one that could be played is the universal one. Is that true? Yeah, I think that's true. Because obviously Necro can't. They were all class cards. Well, not Money Where Your Mouth Is. Money Where Your Mouth Is was a generic, right? Yeah. So that's something here. And that's actually not too bad for her, depending on what cost curve is. And it looks like it's a yellow-blue set. So, and then Gravy Bones with the allies. So actually, I don't know that he's going to be the only one with allies. And let's go back to the parrot. I kind of hope the parrot's an ally. Like, that'd be pretty awesome. I know there's been like Victor-esque jokes out there where like Puffin's the parrot, and right. But I think it would be cool if there were allies for everybody. And that's probably where the pirate, like, they'll probably be like pirate allies, right? I don't know. Necromancer being the only one that has allies. I mean, I guess they did it with Dromai in Uprising, to be fair. So, yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Very interesting to me here. I know a lot of people are very, very, very excited about Necromancer. As well you should be. Like, we've been waiting for it forever. It is going to be a little weird that it looks like he's going to, like, mill himself to make board state. That'll be a very interesting, like, balance to see where that falls. Especially when you have to exhaust. And like, this is maybe his weapon. Like, I think he's got to have a sword, right? Like, just to be awesome. But like, maybe he's got something that like gives your allies. I mean, that would be very like, I mean, that's very illusionist, right? But like, there's definitely some broody illusionist crossover vibes in this for sure. So, all right, we've been here for like a half hour at this point, but man, so much, so much. Actually, let me pull up one more time armory tech. Oh my god, so brilliant. But this is really interesting to me. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention they have 3 different booster displays, which is kind of cool. So it always, there always used to be like the pack superstition, like, oh, I need the, like in Bright Lights, what was it? It was like, it's always the dash pack on the lower left was the superstition, right? Which, whatever. It was true that the RFs were in the bottom left. I mean, that's a true statement. But in terms of like which hero was on it, I definitely opened plenty of Tech Leviathan packs with it. But I digress. But now there's going to be is just the same level of discussion around like, oh no, the Necromancer booster displays are way better. The stupid Ranger display. So that's going to be a thing. I don't know how, I know I'm totally off script too. I mean, I don't have script, but the gold pack thing is really, really, really interesting. In the fact that, where am I at for the product config? Treasure pack config, there we go. Its own set that has its own marvels. I mean, that certainly implies its own arc of cards. I'm not going to get uppity about it until, I mean, I'm not uppity about it anyway, but like, I'm not going to put too much, until we actually see what's in it. I'm not going to put too much in that, but why, I mean, it has 11 Marvel. I mean, I guess it could be Marvel's only. Marvels of other cards from the set only in that. I don't know. But the chase is going to be very, very, very real on these things. And then remember, we get a new arc arc of gem packs with the set as well, right? So you're going to have the treasure packs, the gem packs. Man, they're going to be 19,000 different treatments of all this stuff. And then Lost Treasure appears roughly 1 in 1,000 treasure packs. 1 in 250 cases. Wow. Okay. Anyway. So actually, did you see this? So the booster configuration for Japanese is actually only 9 cards per pack. So not draftable. So you have to draft the English one. Interesting. At least they do. All right. That'll do it. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I appreciate y'all hanging out as we explored this together. I mean, again, hot off the press. Super awesome. Thanks for watching. Go Commando.